The Jazz Singer from 1927 is known as the first sound film. Here the sound was captured photographically on the 35mm film itself, next to the film image. Before that, there were already systems that recorded sound permanently using a special phonograph record, such as Vitaphone from Warner Brothers. This was provided with grooves on one side that run from the inside to the outside in this case. To stay in sync with the film projectionist had to place the needle exactly at a point indicated by an arrow in the groove. The playback equipment was mechanically linked to the film projector, which kept the sound and image in sync. For each reel there was a gramophone record. When there had been a break in the film, the lost footage had to be replaced with black film. This kept the sound in sync. With the release of the feature film Jurassic Park in 1993, the system repeated itself where film and sound were decoupled again. This time the digital sound was separated from the film. The film now only had an optical sync track between the film image and the analog sound track, which controlled the CD-ROMs where the sound was recorded in 5.1. When the sync track was not read under 6 seconds, the digital sound continued to play. In the beginning, Dolby A was the analog soundtrack as a backup. Later, that became the analog Dolby SR. Just like Dolby SRD, DTS was also compressed. Only less than Dolby SRD. DTS sounded better in dynamics, however a separate sound mix was created for DTS and SRD. This could be the case that, for example, it sounded better for Lord of the Ring in SRD. And in other cases again in DTS. It always depended on how the sound mix was made for both systems. Later, it appeared just like Dolby EX, DTS ES. This meant that the stereo surround also got a center sound channel. The DTS system was also used for 70mm and IMAX. The 70mm copy only had a wide sync track. There was no backup sound available. The DTS also had an advantage over the Dolby SRD system for cinema operators who had their cinema in the border region. This way, they could also show the feature film in another language. The danger was that upon returning to the backup sound, the original language on the film would be audible. The DTS system also had disadvantages. The backup system did not always work properly, sometimes the sound would completely stop. And it did not switch back to Dolby SR, or the DTS player would randomly start playing another section of the film. But in most cases, it worked fine. In practice, the Dolby system was mostly used, the digital SRD sound. The sound was always on the film and was more reliable than that of the DTS system. And the analog backup SR soundtrack always worked. One disadvantage could be that over a long period of film screening, the reading rating of the SRD soundtrack could decrease due to damage to the film. But if the film operator did their job well, the SRD soundtrack remained intact. This was proven by the long screening periods of Titanic and the Lord of the Rings cycles, which were shown daily with 2 or 3 screenings every year.